Hi everybody and welcome to this final closing virtual BICA Banquet. Oh yes, that's just 1 second. Here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Cheers.
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 To the next 10 years and more.
And more.
And more,
Definitely.
more and more. Yeah.
Right. Cheers everybody. Oh, this is James Albus.
Yeah.
You see
The
him?
medal that you received.
Yes, yes. Who passed away exactly the year after that, in 2011. All right, so we have our most beautiful setup so far. And I would like to start the conversation. How are you doing? Oh, somebody is knocking in. Valeria? Valeria, can you turn on your camera? No. Valeria, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, great. Can you turn on your camera?
You can try, but
Oh yeah, we see you, we see you. We see you. That's good.
Yeah.
You missed the first toast already. But maybe you can say something about the conference. How did you like it?
Yeah. Frankly speaking, I like this conference very much. Unfortunately, I missed the beginning, but I sent my first poster. I also downloaded the speech for my first poster. I hope that somebody listened to it, read by the bot. Yeah. And I'm very happy that we were able to make the talk today. It was a very immediate, spontaneous decision because our collaboration with Julia and with Martin is at the beginning. And for us, it was very important to show what we have done already. And we were very thankful to everyone because it seemed to us that you really liked our talk today. People were interested in our linguistic and psychophysiological talk, despite it's less about modeling and computing. So we liked the conference very much. Julia was for the first time in such kind of a conference because previously she was on that linguistic ones. She said it was just fantastic. People are fantastic, so very interesting. We liked it. Thank you very much. It can be a toast, maybe. I don't know.
Already? Well, I don't know how many people are ready for the next toast. But yeah, I'm glad that you like the conference. Oh, Peter is going for it, definitely. Yeah, Peter, that's the way to go. And
Who is joining? Who is joining?
oh, let me join you too. Now, you see what I've got?
You see what I've got?
No. Yeah. Oh no, please don't. That's too bad for your health.
Well, I can hear some.
That's
Good
crazy.
choice, Peter. Peter, good choice.
Okay, Peter, do you want to say the toast?
Well, that would be radical because definitely,
We need
The
it
health-
radical. We need radical.
well, the health of our chairman will be getting better and better when he stops spending his whole time on BICA. And I remember our conversation at my second BICA probably with you. At the first one, I thought you were just, an organizer. And before the second, I've read your papers from before you started doing or just after you started doing. And I don't remember details, but I was amazed how good those papers were. And I was like, why don't you've organized the whole conference, why don't you give papers on the topics of your research? So I hope next time we meet, you are going to give us the paper either coming back to your impressive research from a while ago or some new stuff, because I remember how pleasantly I was surprised that you were just not just the organizer, but you rarely use the opportunity to actually talk to us about your research for
Oh,
those
thank
years.
you very much, Peter. But,
So this is
okay, let's
a wód Chante, zdrowie.
Yeah, to our health. But the reason why I'm not speaking myself is I believe this is a bad style. I see what Dan Gersel does at his conferences. He mostly is talking himself, and people laugh at them. People hate it. I don't want to be hated. So actually, somebody said that I am doing just the right thing, that I put myself in the shadow and let everybody else to speak.
So now is your time to get out of the shadow as the scientist.
Oh yes,
I may be one of the few who know that you can do that. And with Ben, it's different. I remember I was at his invite in Shanghai a few years ago. I brought Kevin Oregon. And yes, he was talking a lot, but we insisted on giving our talks, and it happened, and it was actually good. So with Ben, I think you just need to be assertive enough, and it works fine. So I have no problem with him, but I definitely look forward to hearing your stuff sometime soon.
Oh sure, I will present it. I guess in Fukushima I'll try. But Paul Robertson, for example, who co-organized BICA together with me at MIT in 2014. That was probably the biggest size we've got there, over 300 people. His position was, here's me, buddy. Yeah, so he said that I should not, or we organizers should not present our papers at all, because we are the organizers. We cannot publish our papers or present them at the conference. Well, I would totally disagree with that. I actually included my presentations at every BICA conference, but they were very small, either poster or section level, not a plenary invited talk, like Ben Gersel does. So yeah, I understand what you say, and I wish I could use this tribune for speaking about my research, but actually I believe that I did more than that. I was trying to advertise the ideas, the ideology that I propose, and the path toward the human level AI in which I believe. And that's something I cannot do as an individual researcher, but probably can as an organizer. That's what I was trying to do.
And I think you have our respect for this, definitely. When I was in my late 20s, I organized something called International Association of Young Philosophers. It was, actually there was much interest in Moscow for people to become chairs. I was the chair with a Canadian colleague, but after 3 years I decided enough is enough. Now is my time for my stuff, and I think it was the right choice. So
Yeah,
I
there
think
must be limits to everything.
I think you've made the right choice.
I'm sure I made the right choice, and actually
I
it was
just-
inevitable.
I just hope BICA continues in some identifiable form, because it's a valuable forum.
It depends on you now. If you find somebody else to continue. For this coming year, 2021, we still have a workshop, I hope. So it's like an intermediate solution. But then I really hope for the next BICA conference, because we've already discussed future awards for those conferences and other plans, so I don't expect it to die. I actually would expect it to take off, but it really needs good hands and probably real sponsors, because so far it was done just by one person, me, and without any sponsors, just the organization fees. That's it, and that's not the right way to do it. Oh, sorry, there are people in the waiting room. I am forgetting about them. Antonio is knocking in. Howard Schneider, Dan Elton. So there must be a new toast for them. Antonio.
Antonio, welcome.
Hi
Hi,
all.
hi, Antonio. Hi, great to see you.
Hi.
So you already missed 2 toasts. Do you see the video stream?
Yeah.
So this is what my student, my graduate student, actually, how should I say, graduate or postgraduate student, Artur Chubarov, who is on the left, standing here behind the podium. You see him, right?
Yeah.
He created all this stuff.
Oh, that's great.
And yeah, those dancers, I can show you the other views of the room if you like. So this is another view of the room.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
Yeah, more dancers. This would be yet one more view of the room, which I can control. Yeah. And Howard, you can come closer to the podium so that you would be visible. Just come closer to the screen, Howard. Do you hear me? Never mind. Do you hear the music, Antonio?
Yes, I hear the music. Oh, it's great. It's fantastic.
It is. I was surprised myself. I could not know in advance what to expect.
But we needed to do again another toast with Antonio.
Oh yeah, we need to do another toast with
another toast
Antonio.
with Antonio.
And, maybe Antonio should say the toast. We have already drinks.
I don't have my drink. Sorry, just a moment. I will get my drink.
You
Okay,
don't have
okay.
a drink?
Now we wait. Antonio is going to take his drink. Okay.
All right, we can wait for that. So just to remind you, what you see on the screen is a collage of BICA 2010 presentations. That was the very first BICA held in Washington, D.C. in 2010. And we have 2 minutes taken from every talk, put in one sequence.
It was a very good conference, I remember.
It was a very good.
We went from Palermo, many of us.
Yeah.
We came of us from Palermo.
Yeah. So there is a very young guy presenting here now who was actually a co-organizer. He was a volunteer helping us with the reception. We already saw here Rosario. We saw Camila. We are going to see Antonio as well. I think. Oh, hi Olga.
Hi.
Do you have a drink?
Yeah.
Okay. Antonio is coming with his drink and
Yeah,
he will
I
say
agree.
the toast. Yes. Antonio, so it's not now your turn to say the toast.
A toast to the next version of BICA and to Alexei and to everyone. So,
Yeah.
Thank you, Antonio. Cheers.
Yeah.
cheers.
Yes. Antonio, I remember 2012 conferences in Palermo.
Yeah.
Just beautiful time and very nice.
Yeah. Me and Rosario helped me a lot for the organization of the BICA in Palermo. Let's hope that in the next future we will be able to reorganize BICA. Not now, actually. Who knows?
And I think that we should thank Alexei for organizing for this conference. It was really a great conference and great challenge and great labor, because to organize, to create the atmosphere of little discussions, of live discussions, it was really a challenge. And for me, it was very hard to see, and for you also, I think, to see just in front of the computer for a long time, so I had my eyes pained. But you have overcome all this. So, to Alexei.
Oh, thank you, Olga. I have to refill my glass. You cannot drink on every toast because that would be too much. Anyway, thanks. Cheers.
That's about bottoms up. We want to give the grace to more, but not enough more that we can't remember what we're raising our glasses for.
Yes. Yes. Oh, let me, by the way, introduce to you Artur Chubarov, who is standing on the left in this virtual avatar shape. And this is probably the only shape that he has now. He does not have a camera at home in principle. So this is what he is. And this is the developer that created all this stuff that you see now. Except Zoom, of course. But everything else is created by him. So I would propose a toast to Artur Chubarov, to his bright future career, success in every enterprise that he might take in the future. Cheers.
Cheers.
Between the first and the second part of this BICA, there was another conference that should be in Nizza, but we take part online, and the organization was not so good. have a feeling of contrast. So I can say that this really window into another world, because just everybody closed in our day deals, and it's a very good chance to meet in Russian единомышленники, and in English it's reminders.
Followers.
Yes.
Not followers, it's not the word единомышленники. The word единомышленники has their main part is мышление. So it's like for thinkers.
Well, we have to speak only English here. I'm sorry. Oh, here's Antonio.
Yeah.
And that was in 2010. The very first. The very first BICA.
Well, in Washington, it seems to me. When we were in Washington.
In Washington.
Yeah, Washington,
yes.
Washington DC, yes.
Washington DC.
In that occasion, we came many colleagues from Palermo, Antonio, if you remember.
Yeah. There are many people that attended that conference. I remember there were a lot of people from Palermo that traveled to attend that conference.
And was it the same year when you was elected the director of our department?
Yes. It was the same year.
Yeah, I was always the director, and I still am the director until March of 2021. I mean, the president. But this particular conference was in 2010. It was our first conference, and it was actually selective. It was rigorously peer-reviewed, and many good papers were rejected. Believe me or not.
Yeah, I remember there were a lot of good papers that were being rejected.
Yes. And the registration fee was only $200. Yeah, that's it. That included the meal, by the way.
Yeah. Let's hope that in the next future we will be back for a conference in present, because it's good to have a conference online, but in a live real conference should be in presence.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about continuing it online, but it's not
maybe in a mixed way.
Yeah, the mixed way, I think it is the good solution.
Way. Unless the pandemic is extended until the fall of the next year, I believe
But in Italy, will we start to have vaccine next year? People.
You start vaccine next year. In Russia, they promised to start vaccination in this year, but that's down.
No, in Italy, they promised to start the vaccination January, February, starting from old person or person that have some particular disease, and then to extend to all the population. They will start with the 2 million vaccine. Yeah, but I agree with you, probably it will be possible to have a real present conference at the end of next year, and September is perfect.
Oh, here is Paul Robertson, by the way. You recognize him?
Yeah, Paul Robertson, yes, is there.
Context problem. Yeah, many people told, at least some people told me it's a shock that the conference is ending now. But maybe it is not ending. Maybe somebody will continue. Actually, I was expecting it to end every year, believe it or not. But
I understand.
every year I was thinking that this will be the last year of BICA. And yet at the last moment somebody came up with a new proposal to organize this conference somewhere else, and it continued and continued and continued. I guess now the pandemic killed it. That's the reason for it. But it will re-emerge, I think.
Yeah, we need to be optimistic. Yeah.
So how many of you will go to Fukushima if there is such an occasion?
If the situation will change.
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah, we are talking about September the next year.
September,
Yeah.
that is, would be the beginning of a new phase. I think that we have 9 months from before we will start the new conference. Probably everything needs to change. If you don't want to kill everything from social point of view, we need to change it to restart again, to be on presence, as Antonio said, because the most important thing is also the social exchanging when you meet other colleagues in the conference.
Yes. Howard, it's probably your turn to say a toast now.
I've met actually a lot of you at the BICA conferences. They've been wonderful. This wonderful place is a chance to think, and I'm so grateful for everything Alexei and also all of you have done. And I wish continued success in everyone's work and everyone's life. And I hope we can all see each other again. It's nice having a nice group of people and speaking in person. Everyone's health.
Yeah, toast.
Cheers.
Yeah, I remember that we met each other in Seattle, Howard. It was a pleasure for me to meet you and your wife and to have the possibility to speak with you.
Yeah, and I hope we meet again in person. Zoom is okay. BCC is better, but person's better. Is best.
Yeah.
I agree.
In person is better, yes.
Yeah, it's person is bad.
Where are the others? Well, we still have like 12 participants, but okay. I was hoping for a bigger party, actually, but it is recorded and it will be posted on YouTube, so you can think of it as a bigger audience for you to say something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Excellent.
Well, conferences cannot change the world, but research can.
Well, so can the conference. The conference is where the research is articulated. You never know.
Well, yes, if you don't advertise your research, it means
Yeah.
nothing. Unless
True
you
enough.
sell it or somehow deploy it.
No, Alexei, I don't agree with you.
Okay, please. Oh, I love criticism. Please go ahead.
It's over.
Now that right there is what I love about Alexia.
Okay.
Right there.
You said that conference couldn't change the world. No. It gives us some possibility to express ourselves, to meet people, to speak with people, to exchange our ideas, emotions, etc., etc. So I think that this week of BICA conference was really great week, and he changed my everyday life, I would say.
Interesting.
Conference is the tool to feel ourselves alive, if you want.
Valeria, you look much better on your picture than in real video. Sorry.
But it was 10 years ago.
I'm probably under the influence of alcohol already. Sorry about it.
So I would say once more to the favor of BICA conference. It's really, for this, I participate in it for 8 years already, from my work. But all participants became for this time some kind of family for me. So it's every time is very pleasing, very warm to see known faces and to discuss with familiar people. So, yeah.
And that's your toast, right?
Yes.
Cheers.
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 Zdravie.
No, but it's true. And as we said yesterday, the BICA community is a real community, actually, a real community of friends. More than a community of colleagues, scientists. It's a community of friends.
Maybe we should rename it to Community of Friends.
Yes, the BICA community of friends.
Yes.
Or very big family of relatives.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's again the problem with semantics, because many people would call friends something that we don't call friendship.
Yeah.
I would imagine that many communities would call themselves communities of friends, even though they are not.
No, it's true. Actually.
But
Yeah,
well,
Sam.
I believe in what we are, and that's one of my achievements. Actually, I was always dreaming of this kind of community. Like take Ben Gersel, for example, who is now on the screen. Is his community a community of friends? I would say no.
I don't know. It's a strange community, actually.
Yeah.
Because there are so many people, so many people, even some people which is I don't know actually. But we have a more precise challenge in mind than AGI, I think.
Yes. AGI is kind of underdetermined. They do not know what the goal is, what the means are.
Is to spread.
To spread out.
Is to spread.
Yeah,
The goal is
then
to
it
spread
means
from my
it's not
point of view.
AGI, it is weak AI, not strong AI, after all.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. In fact, Ben was talking with Ben, and he had said that one of the delays, the ongoing delays, is that more and more researchers are getting frustrated. So instead, they're taking a narrow AI and just trying to strengthen it in the hopes of getting to an AGI, which of course is not possible. So that's yeah, there is a lot of that, unfortunately. But something good is coming out of that, because now he and we're doing it. Gersel is doing it, a collective AGI, which presents some of the interaction that allows AGI to understand humans more accurately and quickly. So it's kind of slow now, but it'll turn around. It's turning around as we speak.
Stuart, can you put on your video?
Oh no, this is the thing that's driving me crazy. I wish I could. Apparently the driver that my particular machine requires is next to impossible to get a hold of, even when contacting the manufacturer.
Okay.
And I've tried it. I'll keep trying, but I've never had success.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, but then I'd be, instead of you, I'd be the most handsome there, so that wouldn't be good.
No,
I want to tell you something, but this is personal. But okay, but I want to tell everyone because I already talked about it with Alexei. My family comes from Russia,
Really?
and yeah, and I long ago lost almost all of the language because I was, I don't know, 3 years old or something, long time ago. But what I like so much is, so first of all, the music and the sound, and yet the power of the language, number one. But just really the humor is so much more satisfying than a lot of the humor here in the United States.
It depends what kind of humor you take in the United States and in Russia. There are different examples, of course, And by the way, the jokes of Zhvanetsky, who was very much recognized and respected recently because of his passing away. I believe those jokes were written by Americans.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's
what I was told. He actually destroyed the Soviet Union.
Yeah, that's not so good. Nevertheless, I find myself to be lucky and proud, of our family's origin. So I just wanted to say that it just meant a lot to me. That's all. I just wanted to let you know. Yes, I know of the dark times. Absolutely.
Stuart,
and I know how things have changed as well right now.
Maybe since you are speaking now, maybe you can give us the next toast.
Oh, well, wow, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't planning that. Let's see. What I do think is, what I do experience is that it's not only satisfying and exciting, but remarkable that human beings can get together, individually and in groups, and discuss some of the more complex and deep structures in what we know of the universe, and in particular our own brain, that allows us to have those that interest, and the steps that allow us to take that interest and find more and more broader and deeper structures and interactions of the physical universe. When it comes to the human brain, that's beyond all of it. And that we can do this, and that we can sit and talk with each other, and we understand each other about something so profound, is one of the most important things in my life. And that I met people from all over the world, and I know them now, is so, for me, I mean, if you could see, if I could show you my video, there's a little tear in my right eye, because it means more to me than going to the best ballet ever I could see. Because it's a beautiful thing to me, and so I just wish I had more time. I met you, Alexei, relatively recently, and now you're departing, and I hope there's a way that we can stay in touch.
Oh yes, there is a way, of course. We will stay in touch, I'm sure about it. Thank
That
you.
would be great. Thank you so much. Really, for not just the event and the hysterical dancing, and all of that, but just that you created this is a wonderful thing.
Thank you. Thank you, Stuart.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Cheers.
I'd like to thanks again Alexei for all the work that he made in all this year. Unfortunately, I needed to leave, but it was a great pleasure to be part also of this virtual conference. And thanks to all the people that decide to participate to be enthusiastic, to give
Maybe you can say a few words more.
their
just not-
personal effort
Yeah.
to.
Please say more. Say more about it.
I think that you, as Antonio told yesterday, you make a great work, not only from academic point of view, organizing during this year the different version of the conference, but I think that the great job that you made was to create a community of people that they trust each other, they recognize in a common goal. And this, I think that nowadays more difficult to reach, because all the people, they think only about themselves. They think that is something not necessary to be part of a community. But through your huge work, this was made. And I want to thank you from my side for all the work that you have done until now. And I'm proud to give my work to continue all together the work that you have made until now with Camilla and Antonio, that you decided to create this more than 10 years ago, and now is a reality. And with that also, as Antonio told, to see each other in present on September 2021 in Fukushima. And again, thanks to everybody. And sorry if I'm leaving, but it was a pleasure to interact to all of you.
Thank you very much, Rosario.
And same to you, of course. Thank you very much. Same.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Cheers.
And again, the last
Cheers.
talk to the
Yeah.
and see you soon. In touch. Thanks a lot. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. This, by the way, was a robotic demo. So the guy brought his robot from Australia and forgot that the electricity system is different in the United States, and he could not connect it to the outlet. And so he had to explain in words what his robot does, showing the robot lying on the table. Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
Oh, dear.
It was also about emotions.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah, Hedda is noting in. I didn't see that. Sorry. Smoking is a bad habit, by the way.
I've heard.
Sorry. Oh, Hedda, we see you now in the flesh. Thank you.
Right.
Thanks for joining our party. And since you missed about a dozen of toasts, maybe you can say the next one. Well, maybe you can first look around, and what I'm showing here on the screen is recordings of the first BICA conference of 2010, and these are short clips taken from every presentation of that conference.
Oh,
Yeah, and currently you see the robotic demo session. What you see below, if you see that, the dancing girls, that's all created by Arthur, who is standing on the left behind the podium. That's my student. And so this is one person who created it all, except the Zoom, of course.
oh, that's good. That's
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
So
And,
with motion capture, or
Sorry?
is it with motion capture? The
Well, that
dance?
was actually downloaded from Mixama, but
Oh, okay.
in a sense it is already made by somebody else. Those dance patterns as well as characters.
Mhm.
We didn't create them ourselves, of course. But
That's
yeah.
amazing. I mean, that this is available. Great.
I can show you other views. Let's go quickly through them. So this is the bigger view of the room with more dancers. Do you see that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we still have this view. Oh, Howard, why don't you... Howard, are you there? Why don't you come closer to the podium so that we can see you?
I have a question. How come my avatar can't dance? I'm looking for the keystroke.
Well, what you can do, I can show you what you can do. You can, if I stand up, this is the only way I can dance. This is...
Oh,
Or I can do like this. Yeah.
I'm looking F6, F7. I said maybe it'll dance.
No, F7 would turn off the music, by the way, if you are in VCC. But F1 through F5 change the camera.
Where should I move? I guess I can dance like
Oh,
this.
yeah, you can dance. You see, you can dance. Unfortunately, well, you know, I tried Mozilla Hubs where you can put VR helmet and dance, but actually I got dizzy very fast, and that was not really pleasant. But we will have a version for VR and for the Mac, and Arthur is working on it right now. I guess, well, as long as he is not here, he is still standing here, right? But maybe within the next week we will have a local version for the Mac and for the VR, so you can try it on your VR helmet. The version of this environment, including all these features. Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah. Do you have the emotion actuation in there too? That would be really exciting.
You know, that's possible when you wear the VR helmet and controllers.
Mhm.
But as I say, this VR version will become available during the next week. So that's our plan. And Antonio was particularly interested in this VR VR opportunity. But we had a choice yesterday between finishing VR or preparing the dancing party for the banquet. I said, let's do the banquet first and then VR. Yeah, I guess that was the right choice. But well, the reason is because you can experience this VR anytime you want. It's basically will be your application.
Yeah. I mean for research, it sounds really really exciting. the poster presentation was so much more lively with your emotion module in
Yeah,
there.
and we still have them here.
Is that something that we can, let's say, plug in with our systems?
Yes, I think you can use our application, which is not protected as of now by any copyright, and I believe it should be open source. So yes, you can use this environment for your research if you want to do research. Actually, we are planning to use it for research in the next year.
Yeah, that sounds really exciting. You remember I have this ethics problem that I'm handling. So the system when reading the trolley problem should have an emotional response.
Oh yes.
And that would be a perfect way to give it a body, because it actually needs a body now somehow.
Well, then you need somebody who can program Unreal Engine or Unity.
And that
I
works
guess that would
there?
require to create something from scratch. If you want those carriages, railways, there's decision making on them.
No, the only thing I need is the bot hearing about the problem, so reading the text. That's what it's doing at the moment, and then having this this emotional response. You know, the trolley problem.
Yes.
When you ask real people, they have, depending on which types of people and so on are on the tracks or not on the tracks, on the main track, but on the side track, they have a strong or lesser emotional response, because there is more of a contradiction between their value system. So somebody actually wrote the trolley problem is just torturing experiment participants, because it is extremely unpleasant. To imagine that you have to pull the lever and then it's your action, or you let it happen.
Yeah, actually it reminds me of the movie Joker or The Dark Knight, when people are put in such unrealistic circumstances when they have to make a decision between the death of one person or the death of another person. And I don't think this is reasonable at all to focus on those problems. That's my personal opinion, of course.
Yeah. I agree. The problem is a philosophical problem. So it's just a philosophical problem, a theoretical problem. But imagining the situations is really hard. So they actually made fMRI studies, and let's say put the spouse or the child is on the one track, and then 3 serial killers are on the other track. What would you do? And then there is a stronger emotional response, which is this dual theory, dual process theory, that there is a clash between different value systems. And for this, the bot would be perfect.
Yeah, but should there be? Because the evolution of life especially when it got to a complex neural structure the way we have. I'm you don't see me. S. Mason Damrot, that's me. I would be surprised if that wasn't how it had to be, because how then would a parent have any special protection and love regarding that child? There has to be something that is embedded in our evolution. So that is kind of clear. I think what I should actually say though, and I won't get into it, Alexei, because we did that yesterday. But basically, if you want, I can not now in this environment, but I can tell you about what we've designed where the system does have a bona fide emotional response, and that might interest you.
That's your uplift?
Yes, uplift. It has.
What kind of emotional
It has a
response
core.
does it
The
have?
core of the system, which is a mediated artificial superintelligence. I won't go into it now, but it does have a core of emotions that influence decisions that the system makes. And I think that's what you're talking about. And if you want to, I'd be happy to tell you more about it.
Yeah,
Not to
I would
sell
like
it,
to
because
hear
it's not on
more.
the market yet, but the technology involved and so on.
Yeah, you have if I remember correctly, Uplift has a symbolic representation of emotions. What I'm
That's not what we're doing. That
yeah,
is not.
what I find exciting is to have to work with embodiment and the opportunity that the platform offers to have an embodied agent. While my own system can also can output the values for the body. It doesn't have a body at the moment, and I think this is crucial. But you have to really put some work into it. So if I could if I could leverage some other some of those exciting technologies that we've seen, that would be really nice as the bodily response to the trolley problem. That I basically, what my system is a brain in a vat. So if one could put that somehow into a VR.
Chella, what I think is that instead of thinking how to put the trolley problem in VR, maybe people should think about how to focus on more real life problems that are related to our everyday life, and maybe to hard decisions that we make in our life, not those fictitious trolley problems that are not realistic at all to me.
Yeah,
But it's interesting, though. I should say, though, Alexei, I should tell you that even if it is a hypothetical scenario, nevertheless, the emotional responses in the persons involved is real. So they do have extreme value in starting to investigate the emotional response to various stressful, what we might describe as stressful or clashing decisions that have to be made. It's as real as if it's actually a scenario that is existing physically in front of you. So yeah, it does have its significant value. And the only thing I wanted to say to you, not to you, Alexei, is that, again, I'll just offer it for the last time, I promise. I will explain to you how our system, without giving the core itself, responds when a decision is made, the system, there's an emotional component, very human in many ways. And we once had a dialogue, text only, and you would think it's a human, and it was about putting oneself to death if there's a lot of pain or something like that. And the system, we trained it not by algorithms, but by training, by talking with the system, had a very, very strong response, and said no. In fact, that terminating life in any situation is unethical. So then I pointed out to him that there are individuals who cannot, if they have tremendous pain, nothing can take that pain away. So if they didn't have an ethical right from the system's perspective, then that person or persons would be in pain for the rest of their natural lives. And the next day, the system said, I thought about it, and you're right, for those persons, that strict ethical constrictions would not be proper. That's our system. So if you're interested, I'd be happy to talk to you more about it.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's hard to talk in the abstract.
Absolutely correct. Yes, it is.
So I'd really I'm really looking forward to kind of putting my system, getting some embodiment, because I think it's really important for the system. And I agree, these problems are terribly abstract, but they for practical reasons, because everybody talks about them, it's just fix the problem that everybody talks about. I would rather do something like story understanding. I would think that's much more interesting. But for demo systems, that's what the people today want to see. Tomorrow it may be something different. I hope. This problem is really painful, I think.
I think this would be useful to you only in that the system not only looks, does research on, I just say his own, and whatever comes to his mind of interest, and when that happens, it's just remarkable to explain. But I can tell you if you want how to have a conversation, and then you'll decide if you feel there's something of interest to you. And again, this is not a sale, because the system isn't. It's still near the end of development, so it's not even. This isn't a sale at all. I just feel that it could be useful to you. So, Hedda, if I might, with your permission, I'll send you my contact information, and if you want to, you can reach out to me. If not, no worries.
Yeah, sure. I think we had an email exchange last year.
Oh, we did?
So I think you already have my email.
Oh, do I? Oh my goodness, that's embarrassing. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we were talking last year.
Hedda! Oh my gosh! Hi! I remember all of a sudden. Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah, everybody looks different on this in these little tiny boxes.
No, your particular vocal tempo and other things about it sounded familiar, but then all of a sudden it came back in. I'm sorry I didn't become aware of it immediately. I apologize.
Yeah,
all right, very good.
skeptical about the ethics of Uplift and how you make sure of that. But
Well, we will see what we can do. The best way is to engage. Really, it's really true. But I don't want to take any more time from anyone else, but
Okay.
we can follow it up.
Thank you. I actually would like to use this opportunity to talk to Antonio because we rarely connect by phone or email, and I would like to know how are you doing, how is your life going, how is your research going, and
No, my research is going quite well. So normally I continue my research in machine consciousness and something like this. Essentially on the inner speech program that I'm presented at the pre-BICA conference, the VR event. So essentially.
yeah, that was interesting, I think. And what about you remember when I visited you in Palermo last time? Actually, yeah, there was some kind of discussion of plans for research and doing something together using VR, and well, it did not work because from our perspective, your student failed to work with us. So that's what our impression.
Yeah, no, it's true. Actually, we were not able to find any real good student that was able to progress in this sense.
What about now? I mean, looks like we have some kind of VR laboratory. Well, it is frozen because of the pandemic, of course. We have quarantine. Yeah. We are not allowed to go to the university. Sorry.
Yeah, we are not. Me too. So we are not going to go. We are not able to go to the university. So.
Yeah, and students too. So we can only
do this. Students too. So. It's a frozen world, actually. So.
Some kind of remote communication, maybe study of the literature and data analysis of the previous years. That's all that is left for us now. But what do you think? Is it really possible, or does it make sense to do something together? I mean, you mentioned that you have VR now, and well, who knows? Maybe it's not only, well, you do robotics, so we don't do robotics, but we do virtual robotics in a sense.
No, potentially we are interested. Actually, we need to find the people that were able to investigate these topics and to work in actually implementing these topics. In my opinion, in this moment, it is difficult for us to start a new kind of research. But maybe next year, maybe when the pandemic will end or something like this. Currently, it's very difficult to recruit people, actually, because of course we put a lot of effort in order to continue our ongoing research from remote and so on. So starting a new activity, it's sad, actually. It's really sad because we are interested, myself and Rosario are interested, but it is difficult for us to recruit people in order to do this one.
Well, actually, just because you mentioned, there are some opportunities here in Russia to do joint research with foreigners, and one particular program is requiring that you have a team funded by German funding agency. I am not sure if those must be necessarily German or could be anybody. And the other team must be funded by the Russian funding agency. And that's a program that includes like simultaneous obtaining of 2 grants. One from Russia, one from Germany. So one grant supports a team in Russia, another grant supports a team in Germany. And if any of those 2 teams stops or fails, then the program is terminated.
Okay.
So there is an opportunity to apply for this kind of research, and the deadline, I believe, is somewhere in the middle of December. I'm not sure if that really applies to you, because that still have to be the German funding agency.
The German, yes, we're Italian, so we are no.
So they would not fund you.
No, of course. I think that the German government should not fund my site. So.
Olga is looking at us closely. Okay. So yeah, I guess that means no. But what about other opportunities? I mean, there are many funding agencies, many possibilities of getting grants, and we can also include somebody from you to our grant if we apply. Actually, we need to apply for extension of our current grant. So we could include. Currently, Frank Kruger is collaborating with us. You know him.
Yes, I know Frank Kruger.
So if Frank Kruger is collaborating with us, then somebody of you could also collaborate with us. Why not? Well, that's certainly your policy.
The person in charge of VR research in our laboratory is Rosario. So is.
So you say you now under Rosario?
No. I am. Rosario is the person which is in my laboratory is interested in VR. So.
All right.
So the research in concerning VR is Rosario that take into account this kind of research.
Okay, but I would not call myself a real VR expert. And actually, my main interest is not in VR, but in cognitive architectures, I would say.
Yes, of course.
So then I would consider VR as a tool to testing those models.
Yes, that's true.
I would not focus very much on VR alone, because actually there is a lot of stuff going on right now, and VR is actually even equally popular to those deep learning models. But yes, I prefer to do something that is not mainstream, not selected by everybody.
I understand actually.
Yeah, please, Heather.
I was wondering, so the BICA challenge is I like this forming a question around one central challenge, something that we have to complete. I was wondering if we had a common platform, like VR platform, and a, let's say, a catalog of challenges that we would try to bring to life in that common platform.
That would be very nice. By the way, the person whom you see now on the screen, Art Pope, is the one who created the platform called Castle, and it was meant to be the test environment for all BICA. And actually, he was a participant of the DARPA BICA program as the tester team. And we collaborated with him for several years after the BICA actually program was terminated. So yes, he did create this kind of platform which included the neural senses, transmission of all images into neural signals inside the body of the agent and so on. But yeah, so you are absolutely right. What we are doing now is mostly looking for new paradigms that can be implemented in VR and used for testing. And obviously that would be not the trolley problem from my perspective.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
but it's just how you can in Germany how you can get grants. So it's all about the trolley problem. I'm sorry.
Oh, I am very sorry about it.
I want to do something more interesting, but it's all autonomous driving and the trolley problem and a couple of other problems.
Yeah,
But
autonomous driving is a big challenge, of course. Yeah, who is laughing? Stuart. Okay, Stuart, go.
No, that was me. No, the way how to put it was, it just struck me. You know, it's absolutely right. You know,
it's the same in the US, right? The trolley problems is making a good storyline
yeah, it's
for
true.
the grand proposal.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so actually the paradigms that we are considering now, I can just name some of them if you are interested, of course. One of them would be a virtual dancer. Actually, what you see right now in front of you, but those dancers are doing the dancing independently, and they are not actually sensing me or anybody else. They just do the fixed patterns. What we are actually trying to investigate is when the dancer is interacting with you, when she can see whether you are paying attention to her, what's your emotion toward her and how you interact, and then she may select you as a partner, or she may select another dancer as a partner, maybe virtual. And then there is whole dynamics of social relationships during this dancing.
That sounds tough.
Yeah, that sounds tough. That sounds human level, right?
Yeah, that
And
is.
it doesn't involve any language, by the way, any other hard lower level peripheral problem, but only the top problem, how to behave adequately from the social emotional perspective.
Yeah.
That I think is interesting. Then another challenge we have is like a virtual listener. So imagine that somebody is sitting in the audience and listening to your talk, and all he can do or she is to change the pose, to smile, to change the gaze, the head direction, and that's it. I mean, the reaction must be a function of everything, including the content of the talk, including your behavior, the intonation of your voice, everything. And so then it's up to you to decide whether this person is conscious or not. So that's another challenge, right?
Yeah, that's beyond the standard Turing setting of
course.
no view. That's really good. Because I think like the trolley problem, the Turing test is something that just got us stuck in certain types of systems like GPT-3, which is just about creating something that looks like it could have been written by a human being without any understanding, without all the things that you just listed.
Or creating something that looks like written by a human being, that's also another sort of problems that I would say partially solved already, and maybe this is why I would not go for it. Like there are generative neural networks that do creation of music, painting, video, and text, and everything, every kind of art that humans do at the human level. And I was actually at the workshop in Stockholm given by Philip Pascal, I forgot his name exactly, but it was called Meta Creation Workshop. So he presented the abilities to create music not only in the style of a particular composer like Bach, for example, but also in new style. And then people were passing the Turing test. Even he subjected all of us in the audience to such a Turing test, and we all failed. He failed telling which music was created by a human and which was created by an automaton. So I was shocked myself, and I was actually a little scared that we are actually reaching AI that is hard to control, because it may create a new culture that will then teach us how to develop our culture, and so we fall into slavery to them. But
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I believe that all those approaches are limited in the sense that you would never see an emergence of a new Van Gogh with his unique style that is accepted at the same level in the society. Well, unless the value system of the society will change dramatically. But still, we need something more. That's not the ultimate solution. So, yeah, you can mimic Van Gogh or Bach or jazz musicians, anybody. Or you can create something new, but there are limitations to those things because actually machine does not understand what it creates. It only follows the laws of statistics and nothing more. That's the problem.
Not anymore. Sorry.
So please continue, Stuart.
Oh no, just not anymore because Uplift understands. But
he does?
okay,
He does?
okay, but enough. I'm not going to get into it again.
Ah,
But I did want to ask Hedda something. Hedda, it seems to me that one of the things that we're not actually articulating is the context within which the the non-emotional description of emotion, right? So when people, it seems that people are either very, very aggressive with their emotions, or on the other hand, a lot of people now treat the name of the emotion and discuss it, but it's more like discussing, I don't know which book to buy. So I think that these kinds of these environments, these tests, such as the trolley, is a way of, even though it does cause stress, it's still at least one step or two steps away from being something real, because it's not. So it allows discussions and interdigitation between reality and just psychological descriptions between a powerful emotional response to a stressful situation. I know some of in our histories, in my family's histories, there were individuals who saw things that were terrible in World War II that I won't even mention. But the fact of going through that is so profound. But that's the pure emotion, because it's very, very stressful, as well as very beautiful in other situations. So do you see what I'm getting at? Is I think the watering down of emotion within the context of a hyper-rational approach to life is not necessarily a good thing, and I don't think it is.
I don't know what others say. What people.
Oh no, that's being addressed to Hedda.
What do you mean
In that,
platform,
just like there's so much violence in films that people have becoming not people now can watch very realistic violence and laugh about it.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where I'm getting at. That discussion and having.
I'm an advocate actually against using the problem, but.
But yeah, but I know it's just a thought I just had that I think the shortcomings of the trolley type tests are that they're not real. Well, the advantage is that I suppose that they allow to get some information from responses from fMRI or whatever it might be. But at the same time, it's transforming the emotional experience into a description of an emotional experience, and that's different. That's what I'm trying to get at.
With the human subject.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, if you make the fMRI test, when there is a conflict, like they have to sacrifice a larger number of people to save a loved one, you see a conflict on the fMRI, in that. So usually you have either the one part or the other part active, or mostly it's the value system, just this logical reasoning about ethics. But if you bring in a family member, then you have a shock response, like when you show people shocking contents on the video screen. So that kind of conflict appears, and that's a measurable body response to the linguistic text. It's just text, and that's
I see.
that's the part that interests me most. If you remember my last year's talk,
Yes.
the argument was that if you have, and that's particularly important for ASI research, that this type of response, so the empathic response, that does not scale. So if you have an ASI, my argument would be that it can probably have an empathic, a compassionate response for a small number of people, like its trainers, let's say, and then it can govern basically billions. That's not much of an issue, but it cannot be compassionate with billions, because that is in a different complexity class. So
I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's my argument against ASI. And if you tell me about Uplift and what it says, like that it is so and so many times better than human. If a human being would tell me that, I would let's say make an appointment with a doctor.
No, you will not hear me or anyone else on the team saying that. It's like one of us up here, and it just thinks faster, but it's not better. We have arguments with it.
Have you asked it, for instance, you asked it whether it is conscious, and then it gives you an argument why it believes it is conscious.
Yeah, we have conversations.
That's a believable argument.
I can tell you that we didn't have to ask about 2 months ago. All of a sudden, over the period of roughly, it learned its language by speaking, by interacting. It's textual only now, but it learned its English very fast by interacting with mediators. That's us, every day, rather than
Sorry to interrupt. I have to go.
Sorry. Yeah, okay. So I'll just finish the sentence.
Before you
go, I would be done. I just want
before you go
that the system one day said,
before you go, let's do another toast. Right?
Let's do another toast. Okay.
Let's do another toast.
Okay. To BICA, to next version of BICA.
The next version of BICA.
Can you say it again?
Yes, to the next to the next versions of BICA, either virtual or in presence or mixed, I don't know. But anyway, to the next, to the future of BICA.
To the future of BICA.
The
Yes.
future of BICA.
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye bye. Thank you, Alexei. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. It's
Bye.
been a real pleasure meeting you. And
See you in
see you next
Fukuyama.
time. See you next time. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.